Good evening and welcome to the Year 12 VTAC Information Evening. My name is Daniela Curcio and I am the Head of Learning Pathways. I look forward tonight to bringing you this presentation. Our students have all heard this presentation on the 5th of August, but we think as a college it's important to involve our families. We will have some time at the end of the presentation for questions, so please hold on to them until then. Let us begin. So applying for tertiary study in 2023. What is VTAC? VTAC is the Victorian Tertiary Admission Centre. They are the central point for course applications to Victorian universities, TAFEs and colleges. They also are the central point for special consideration, CEAS applications and many scholarship applications. They also are responsible for calculating the Australian Tertiary Admission Rank, Atar, for Victorian Year 12 students. And if students are wanting to apply interstate, there are tertiary institution admission centres for each state and territory. In this session, what knowledge will we gain? So we'll look at researching courses, applying for courses, special consideration, CEAS, and scholarships, getting your results and course offers, and of course, scaling and the all-important ATAR. The VTAC application process. This is a bird's eye view. So applications opened on the 1st of August and timely applications close by the 29th of September. However, I have informed all of our students that I would like their applications in by the time the end of term 3 ceases, as we want to make sure that we've got all the information we need. CEAS and scholarship applications close on the 7th of October. The ATAR is released to students on the 12th of December. They then have until the 14th of December to change their preferences. By the 21st of December, the December round offers and change of preference opens once again. And on the 13th of January, domestic offers are released. February is open for any other rounds apart from round 1 and the December round. Please check the website for a complete listing of dates. Year level guides. Our Year 12 students have been shown this year level guide, which is located on our school LMS careers page, if anyone is wanting to have a read. It gives a snapshot of all of the information that I'm presenting tonight, but also with some guidance in terms of applying for their courses. Finding courses. Course search. Course search is used to compare course information from all tertiary institutions in Victoria. The link is from the website and it also offers an advanced search option and it includes filtering by institution, area of interest and qualification and level. All of our students are familiar with this page as we have been using this offering since Year 10. There on the screen you can see it's got the Find Courses element. There are different types of tertiary courses. There are courses which are here in blue, which are our VET courses, and they range between a Certificate 2 and Certificate 4 course level. They offer diplomas and advanced diplomas. In red, we have our higher education, advanced diplomas, associate degree, bachelor degrees, and in the greyed out area is the postgraduate degrees, which students can complete once they have completed a minimum of an undergraduate degree at university level. Course search and areas of interest. So how to use course search. There is a fact sheet available on the VTAC website, and this is also on our school LMS careers page. Essential requirements and admission criteria. What do I have to do to get in? So all students have been told about the essential requirements. Some courses involve completing a selection task. Others have different types of interviews depending on what course they are applying for. The ATAR profile. This is a new initiative by VTAC. It was introduced in 2021 and it is showing how competitive it is in terms of students getting into particular courses. What requirements might exist? So all students have been made aware of their prerequisites. So that means any VCE subjects that they must complete to be eligible for an offer. As I spoke previously, there may be an interview, a personal statement, audition, folio presentation. Casper test is the online test needed for most teaching courses. There's also subject adjustments. So students are able to get extra points for completing certain VCE subjects relevant to their course. And of course, we have the special consideration access scheme, which is Cs. There are two types of essential requirements. The first is the selection and application. So this is where you see prerequisite subjects, interview, test, and audition. Any student undergoing a nursing degree or midwifery must also complete the English language declaration. You need to complete all of those elements and apply to receive an offer and to be eligible. Essential requirements for enrolment or graduation of particular courses will include immunisations, police checks, and working with children checks, and you don't need to complete these until you have successfully received an offer. All of this will be outlined in your letter of offer from the particular institution. Ranking applicants. So on the left, you can see a selection of the rankings that have occurred for these students. And then we see on the right, the selection rank, what is used to be able to gain entry into certain courses. So as you can see, Taylor had an ATAR of 95, and that 95 was used as her selection rank. Yang received a 90 ATAR. However, he received some subject adjustments. So that was when he studied some subjects that were given bonus points. And as you can see, that improved his selection rank that was used for admission, which was 94. Josh received an 85 ATAR, and his 85 was used as a selection rank. Riley received an 80 as an ATAR, and that was used as a selection rank. Malik received a 75 ATAR, however, he submitted a C's application. He also had some subject adjustment rankings put towards his score, and as you can see, his selection rank then jumps up to 86. Ava had a 70 ATAR, and her selection rank was then not adjusted and used the same. All of these adjustments and things will be taken into consideration. I received all of the students' ATARs the day before. They are actually eligible for their ATAR release the next day. So that's myself, our Deputy Principal Teaching and Learning, Suzanne Polar, and our Principal, Miss Alison Letchford. So we meet to look at those ATARs, and then I go off and put all of these rankings in. And if your son or daughter is going to be missing out on a particular course, once I talk about offers, I ring them the next day after 10 a.m. once they've received their ATAR. So as you can see, the ones with the little green envelope, they all received offers in first round. Publishing information, so it's ATAR-based selection only. So you will never know if your subject adjustment or your CEAS application has been successful, but you can make a fair assumption based on these similar rankings that you see if your son or daughter has gotten into a particular course, especially if that course is higher in terms of rank. So that was the lowest ATAR to receive the offer, which is Malik, and the lowest selection rank to receive an offer was Josh. Applying. So students have been asked to create a VTAC account. All VTAC applications are completed online. As I said, you can create this account from Monday, the 1st of August. Consider opting in for an authorised nominee. I've asked all of our students to nominate a parent or a responsible adult in order for them to be an authorised nominee, just in case, for whatever reason, a student can't go to university or TAFE to enrol in their course, or something happens. Unfortunately, if COVID has taught us anything, everything is unpredictable. So I've asked the students to make sure that they do that. They will need to provide personal details, including an email address that they will continue to use after school, so they won't use their Loyola one. Their student number. All of our students have been sent their VCAR student number through email, and all students have to create what is called a USI, a unique student identifier, as every new higher education study, whether it's TAFE or university, requires one to do so, and you actually need one to create your VTAC account. So this is the interface. This is what the VTAC account will look like once your son or daughter has signed up for this service. So here it says make your course application, which is pretty straightforward. And this is what the course application screen looks like. So students can list up to 8 courses and institutions. The preference order, students are advised to list all of their courses in the order they want to get into them. They are then to add course preferences, so they select the institution or the course type in the course code. They are then to move courses on the preference list with using the up and down buttons. To delete a course, you use the X button. This screen and this slide, more importantly, is what I've told the students is the most important in terms of the VTAC system, a supplementary offer. So this is for students who have put in their 8 preferences, they get their ATAR, they've followed the advice, and for whatever reason, they didn't get into a course of their choice. If you tick yes on the screen where supplementary offers is a service that you make available, you then permit the VTAC to act on your behalf to go to institutions that do not appear on your preference list. So it's for students who get no offers in the earlier rounds. Their details are then released to institutions with places available. They may contact you to suggest a course you hadn't applied for. And if interested, you will enroll for that course within the institution. So please make sure that when you are speaking to your sons and daughters, we have a bit of a running joke in our assembly on the 5th of August that they have to tick yes. It's a non-negotiable, and I made them repeat it out loud to make sure that everyone understood the yes function of this question. Changing the preferences. So after applying, you can change course preferences as much as you like while change of preference is open. The first deadline is the 14th of December in time for the December offer round. You can change preferences between offer rounds. It's important to try and get your preferences right in time for the December round to maximise your chance of getting into the course you want. Most courses, 80% of courses, are distributed in the December and January rounds. So it's very important for the students to get it right in order to maximise their chance. C, so you may have heard your son or daughter talking about special consideration, scholarships and early entrance schemes. This special consideration is very different to what Shannon Staub, our student programs coordinator 10 to 12 does. This is relating specifically to their VTAC applications. So CEASE, what is it? CEASE is the special consideration program used by most tertiary institutions in Victoria. It is filling out a single CEASE application will cover all your eligible preferences. It relates to circumstances beyond your control which have negatively affected your education. Also includes category 1, where personal information and location are distributed. So that'll be for any student that has been the first person in their immediate family to go to university, whether they live far proximity to their course preference that they've put. So all students have been told they need to complete a CEASE application, as category 1 is just a tick a box yes and press submit. So every single year 12 should be pressing that yes on the category 1 and submitting. CEASE allows selection officers at institutions to grant special consideration for course entry to applicants. The categories. So category 1, as I said, is personal information and location, as simple as ticking a box, and every year 12 has been told they must apply for this. Number 2 is disadvantaged financial background. Category 3 is disability or medical condition. And category 4 is difficult circumstances. And as you can see, there is a few suggestions of what that may be in terms of a category 4 difficult circumstance. So what can CEASE do? So we're back to our students on the left with all of their rankings. So CEASE may allow you to gain entry to a course with a lower ATAR than you otherwise would have been able to guarantee a spot in. It is not a guaranteed entry scheme or a reserved quota. It does not exempt you from completing essential requirements and compulsory admission criteria. If a student doesn't get a prerequisite as part of their ATAR ranking, or they don't complete the extra requirement, example, the CASPER test for teaching course, they are automatically ineligible for that course preference. So it's very important that we are making sure that this is all done properly. The student must complete course prerequisites, attend all the interviews and sit all the required tests and required folios and forms, etc., as I've just said. So the CEASE documentation for category 2. So it's for a disadvantaged financial background. This is for students that receive in their own name a government subsidy from Centrelink. So this is the student has their own CRN. It is not in the name of a parent or guardian. It has to be in their name. And it's as simple as uploading the statement or providing an impact statement and a statement of support. But the Centrelink statement is the easiest because the student just uploads that and you don't have to provide additional evidence. Categories 3 and 4. So they are for specific processes. So we have the categories for sexual assault, family violence, homelessness, formal out-of-home care, refugees, asylum seekers, bushfires, and COVID-19 remote learning. So you need to follow the instructions on the CEAS application form. All of the conditions and circumstances must have an impact statement, which is written by the student, which they will then talk about how they have been educationally disadvantaged, and a statement of support written by a health practitioner or relevant responsible person. Relevant responsible person, and a health practitioner, so obviously a GP. We have quite a number of students getting some CEAS applications through the Student Services Department at school, whether they are involved with a learning disability with Kelly Hussey, the head of Student Services. Some students might see a psychologist or psychiatrist. Whatever the case may be, it has to be someone within the community of stature and that can back up in terms of evidence what the students are saying. There's also some detailed information about CEAS documentation on the website, and these particular importance in terms of CEAS documentation is also on our Loyola class page. Impact statements without an accompanying statement of support will not be considered. Scholarships. I've asked all Year 12 to apply for scholarships. There is a big pool of money thrown at this every year, and we are not tapping into it in terms of the wider Victorian community with VTAC. So we need to make sure that even if it's a $50 book voucher, as most of you are aware, when you're at university, it is slim pickings in terms of making some money until you graduate and off into the world of work. So any little bit of money can help. VTAC collects scholarship applications for many institutions. One application, literally one application, submit, and it goes to all the institutions that you are eligible for based on your preference list. They are not just for academic performance. We have many equity scholarships which have similar documentation requirements to seats, and statements must be submitted separately for each using the correct cover sheet. A list of scholarships available on the VTAC website are included, and some scholarships which require their own separate application are also on the website. I'll be running a lunchtime session for our Year 12 students next week in terms of a demo about uploading CEAS applications and scholarships, and I'll email the cohort of what lunchtime that will be. So, and that's a really exciting thing for students to come along to, so they can see exactly what they need to be doing for CEAS, because every year we have a lot of CEAS applications, and I'm hoping to level that up with scholarship applications as well. So students and parents. So each of our Year 12s received an email with me with a copy of this presentation, as well as this document that I have up, and that is about all the early entrance offer schemes we have available within Loyola College. So that includes the Aspire program at La Trobe University. Our careers teacher, Mr. Gowan, kindly set up La Trobe to come out last week, where we had a really great attendance from our Year 12 cohort about what they need to do to apply for Aspire. A lot of these programs will give offers to our students before they even sit exams. So it's really great for a student to receive an offer and possibly a lower ATAR requirement, so they can go off stress-free into the exams, get the minimum, and they don't have to wait until offer rounds to know that they've cemented their place within that scheme. We also have ones with ACU, there's Victoria University, and Swinburne has also, during COVID, put in a really great partnership in terms of early entrance. And a lot of these schemes use Year 11 results as well, and it's not just all about Year 12. A lot involve community programs if students have volunteered and things like that. But it's a great initiative, and I strongly encourage you to speak to your sons and daughters about this and see what they may be eligible for. Results and offers. So the ATAR and the VCE results are released at 7 a.m. on Monday, the 12th of December at 2022. They are online. They are a free online access at this email address, at this web address. There is also an app. It's a free download of joint VCAR and VTAC, and it's called the Results and ATAR app. And they also can receive it in mail. With paid VTAC applicants will receive a printed ATAR statement. I will send this closer to when the students are finishing up in terms of what happens with their ATAR, and they'll also receive a letter from me what they can expect to happen and who I will call in regards to changing preferences and things like that. So there is a registration required. This is why we sent the VCAR student number out again. We did ask the students to take it down with Shannon Staub during activities week, but obviously being in year 12, they are very busy and got a lot of things on. So that's why we've kindly sent them an email with their individual VCAR number, and they can use that to register for their ATAR, but also obviously to make their VTAC account. So the offer advice from VTAC is what they will receive at 2 p.m. on the day the offers are released. So the next day, they then will receive an enrolment instruction from the institution that they have been given their offer from. Every single student must accept the offer, even if they don't want to submit that preference in terms of wanting to study that next year, as you don't know if you're going to get any preferences the following round. So I have told everyone they must accept every single offer that they get, especially the first one, because you don't know what's coming in later rounds. They can also defer depending on the institution, and they can reject, but I strongly encourage acceptance, and then that way students can firmly decide what they want to do from there. As you can see, the accept button in red. Always accept the offer. Okay, so you will be automatically considered for higher preferences. So in the example here, the higher preference courses are automatically considered in future rounds. So this student was given their 5th preference, the Bachelor of Business at Swinburne University of Technology. So they were offered that course, and then they are eligible. So this was in the December round. They were eligible in the January round to receive offers from either 1 to 4 on their preference list. If they have lower preferences, so in this case, the 6th, 7th, and there was no 8th preference, the student is ineligible for those because they are below the offer that they received initially. So there are 6 offer rounds, but as I said, 80% of offers are made in the December and January rounds. Scaling and the ATAR. So the Australian Tertiary Admission Rank is the ATAR. What is it? It is a tool for tertiary selection based on relative performance in the VCE. It is a rank, it is not a score. It is calculated because VTAC receives study scores from VCAR and scales them for fairness. So each student sitting a 3-4 subject will be graded 0 to 50 as a study score. It then forms an aggregate, and from that aggregate is calculated from the highest permissible combination of your subjects. And then the aggregate for everyone are placed in order for conversion to the ATAR, which is a percentile scale. Scaling. So why? Study scores received from VCAR are a rank for that particular subject. 30 is the average for every study, regardless of how competitive the cohort. The how? By looking at the students undertaking the study this year and their performance in the other studies. And for what? Scaled scores are used only for the calculation of the ATAR. Prerequisites and subject adjustments are based on raw study scores. So example, if a student needs a minimum of 25 in English and their raw score is 26, but it's scaled down to 24, the student has met the prerequisite as they have received 26 as the raw and the scaling doesn't take effect. As you can see, middle of the round, 30. So the scaling process. So chemistry, a raw study score average of 30. So here is the results for all chemistry students in Victoria. This is based off of last year's data. As you can see, the average for all studies was the 32.75. Chemistry scaled study score average was 32.75. So the raw score was 30 and it went up because chemistry goes up in terms of scaling. The composition of the aggregate, this is very important. So the primary 4 subjects are what is required to receive an ATAR, the highest eligible English group subject, and then it is the next highest eligible subjects that the student completes. Then if they have done a 5th and 6th subject, so some of our students have 5th and 6th subjects because they studied a 3 and 4 accelerated subject year 11. So every year 12 should have a minimum of 5, unless there is a specific medical reason that they have sat only 4 subjects at 3 and 4 level. And all of our students that completed a year 12 subject as an accelerated in year 11 are eligible for the 10% as the 6th increment. So the aggregates, all aggregates are arranged in order. The minimum is 0 and the maximum is 210. So obviously the higher the aggregate, the higher the ATAR ranking. So this diagram uses simplified figures and processes for the purpose of clarity, but please refer to the VTAC website if you would like some more information on the calculation of this particular aggregate. So remember, this is what I've told all of our students. The ATAR isn't everything. It is a tool for getting into some tertiary courses. Many courses use criteria instead of or in addition to the ATAR. An example would be our design courses, our performing arts courses that use things like auditions and folios. Your selection rank for a particular course may be higher than your ATAR due to published adjustment factors. Getting support. So at school, we have asked all of our students to speak to their relevant careers teacher. So at the moment, that is Michael Gowan and myself at Year 12. All of our students have undergone a process called the compulsory pathway conversation. As indicated, we have until the 31st of August to complete all of those particular interviews. We then open the last 3 weeks of term up for the whole cohort to seek support from us. That may be in relation to their CEAS applications, scholarship applications, the actual VTAC application itself, whatever the case may be. We are there to fully support your son and daughter. There are also instructions, videos and fact sheets on the VTAC website, and that's at vtac.edu.au. Students can email through their VTAC account, and also being social media savvy, all of our students can speak to them on Facebook. There's also the YouTube videos, which are great, and they are listed on our website also. I'm now going to open the forum in terms of if anyone has any questions about what I've just said.
So, Ms. Curcio, we might just wait for a little bit. There seems to be a little bit of a lag.
Oh, okay, sorry. Apologies.
Yep, that's okay. So the first question while we're thinking about it comes up about what date in December do offers come out?
So offers come out normally on the 18th of December. However, VTAC are going to finalise that date by the end of next week. I will email all the students a calendar of those specific dates.
And what date does CEAS supporting documentation need to be submitted by?
The CEAS applications are due by the 7th of October. However, I have asked all of our students to complete everything before the end of term 3 as we go on school holidays, and the first 2 weeks of term 4 are very busy for our year 12, specifically that first week when CEAS closes. So, and the system gets overloaded. So I strongly have encouraged all of our students to get all of this done by the time we go on school holidays at the end of this term.
So, Ms. Curcio, one of the questions that always comes up every year is we know that you get to have a look at it a little bit earlier than our students just in preparation, but what would you suggest for a student who doesn't do as well as what they thought they would do? What would be the next steps?
So in terms of those students, so all of the students have been provided with a pathway plan with A to Z options based on a range of criteria, their academics, what they're wanting to do, but also the all-important pathway plan. Again, that is advice only, and some students choose not to follow that advice. But once I receive the ATAR, legally I can contact the students after 10 a.m. on the day they receive the ATAR, and I guide the students in terms of changing preferences. However, if there are particular concerns that a student has changed their pathway completely, the best advice after speaking to me would definitely be to take advantage of the change of preference sessions that the individual institutions run. So each university or TAFE will open up a calendar in terms of times that students can drop in or possibly phone or email with a direct line of communication, and they can speak to a selection officer directly about maybe some units that they need to complete if they want to get into a course preference that they haven't chosen or whatever the case may be. That calendar will also be released once that becomes available. Normally it becomes available about 2 weeks into our year 12 examinations. So once I have that, I will forward that on to all of our students.
And if on the Monday we get our ATAR and it's not where we think about it, do we contact you, or do we just try and contact the universities directly, or what's the best way?
Wait for me to contact you. I will contact every single person. So I can see once a student uploads all of their preferences to the VTAC system, I can contact all of the students because I can see everything that they've put on their application through the back end system. So I go home that night, obviously receiving the ATARs the day before the students, and I work out who I need to ring in the morning to change. Students will only hear from me if they need to change their preferences, and particularly if their scores were really low, that we need to change their whole plan. But we will guide them of every step of the way. So there's no need to stress. I do that whilst we finish up at school, but I work back a little bit extra, a few days, to make sure all of our students have got the support that they need. So they need to wait for me to call them, and I will call them.
Thank you. I'm not sure if I can think of another question or anything that we might have missed. I think we've answered all the questions. I'm just checking them now to make sure that everything's... If anyone's got some questions, if they'd like to put them in the chat, then we can address them now.
And a copy of this presentation, as I said, it's been sent to the students, but it's also on our class LMS page. So all of the information that I've spoken about is on our page. But I strongly encourage you that if you need to speak to me, please get in touch. I'm at school Monday, Tuesdays and Thursdays. They are my days of work. And Michael Gowan is our other careers teacher for Year 12. And he's been doing great things with them. We have ACU coming out also to talk about their early entrance programs, and the students have all been forwarded that information from Michael. So they're really supported. We've got a lovely little department down in the eye centre of the school, lovely part of the school, and students are frequently dropping in and out to ask questions, and we strongly encourage that. In fact, we love that kids come and ask us questions because we get to share our expertise, but also help them on their journey, post-Loyola journey, which is really important.
And as a parent, I know when my two boys went through it, and it was a daunting experience because it was the first time. What would you suggest for the next step for our families? What would, as a parent or a guardian, what would you think would be the next best thing to support our students?
Yeah, so particularly for those families who haven't had a student do the VCE before, it can be quite daunting, as Suzanne's just said. And my advice is to ask all the questions that you need to seek, answers from anywhere that you need to, whether that you're worried about your son and daughter, the way that they're coping in Year 12. We have a fabulous counselling service as well as a wellbeing team at school. We have us down in Learning Pathways that we can guide you through in terms of what happens next. I've had regular meetings with parents this year, particularly Year 12 parents who are concerned because, sometimes our kids come home and tell us, oh, everything's fine, I've got it sorted, and you're panicking at home thinking, I don't see them doing anything, what's going on? So please reach out to us at school and we can help support and facilitate that. But also let your son and daughter guide you in terms of the process. Some will want to involve you in everything. Others won't want to say too much. But I normally find what happens, it all works out in the end, particularly around ATAR day. And we're here to support, so please reach out to us.
And I don't have any other questions coming through, so unless you've got some or thought of something else that we may need to let our families know, I think we might call this the end of our evening, and we would like to thank anyone that joined us.
Thank you.